And this is our Mark 1 MX5. And I'm going to turn this into a show car, or a stance car. A stancy show car. You get the point. So first of all, one of the first things that you'll notice is the paintwork and the bodywork. These are two things that really need addressing, because as you can see, the arches look terrible. The paintwork at the front here is pretty done for really. And the paintwork all round, even up here, just doesn't look the best. So one of the first things that needs sorting out is the bodywork and the paintwork, and one of the biggest things, rust. Now the rust on this car is actually really good in comparison to some of them that I've seen, or some of these cars that I have seen. So this car is actually really clean. However, there are still some parts which really need addressing. So this side, aside from needing a good clean, is actually really good. However, if you come round to the other side, you will notice that. Now this is rust in the arch, which is a very common thing with these cars. The arches are just renowned for rusting. However, that's not even the worst part. That there is the worst part. There is a gaping great big hole underneath, and as you can see, it is not wonderful at all. Now I believe that that hole down there, that is exactly where the drain holes are that are on top, because on the top here, underneath this bit here, roughly in this sort of area, but a little bit further in of course, there is a drain hole for water, and water then goes down through that, I suppose it's a little tube sort of thing, and then it's supposed to come out the bottom of the car. However, over time, these start to corrode, get rusty, and then it creates a big hole like what you just saw. Now aside from that, the rest of the car does actually look pretty good. There are a few other little bits and bobs here and there which need addressing and need sorting out, especially this. Now unfortunately my back is too bad for me to get down on the ground and show you guys this. However, I have pictures of it, and as you can see, it clearly looks like this part has been cut. Now what reason it has been cut, we do not know. We can only imagine that perhaps it had to come off, and instead of just taking the bolts off or whatever, they just cut it off, which is not good. I believe from research that I've done that this is a diff mount support, and they're not expensive to buy new ones, but we're still trying to figure out why this was cut off in the first place, because if it had corroded and rusted and then snapped, it wouldn't be as clean of a cut as what you've just seen. So we need to figure out why that is and just repair it basically. I think a new one is £30, which isn't too bad. So that's another job that needs to be done before we even get onto any other paintwork or anything like that. However, that is something that will be sorted out very soon actually, because only next week, or next weekend, we are taking this to the MX5 restorer to have a full inspection on the rust and basically the whole condition of the car, and there will even be a whole video on that, so look forward to that. Mainly because if you guys have a Mark 1 MX5 or a Mark 2 or any MX5 for that matter, you too can take your car to the MX5 restorer, and that video that I'm doing next week will give you a quick insider as to what the free inspection includes and who the guys there are and what they do and such like that. So look out for that video coming next week, Sunday next week. What is a show car or stance car without some very nice wheels? These are the OEM Unos wheels, which in my opinion, they don't look good. They're terrible. So some nice new wheels will look great. We are undecided on what wheels we're going to go for yet. However, that will all be released and be known to us soon. And of course, to go with these nice new wheels, we're also going to be getting some coilovers. Now, a lot of people, when they're building a show car, would go for air suspension. However, we prefer coilovers at the moment. We prefer them because they're just a little bit easier to do and a little bit easier, more affordable as well to go for. Now, as for the overall look of the car, we're also going to be getting a body kit for it. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys what body kit we're going to go for. All I will tell you is it is very common, And unfortunately, we didn't really want to go for a very common body kit, but it just looks so good that we just could not get it. Now, of course, if you would have seen from one of my previous videos that we relocated the front plate and it completely transformed the look. I can't believe how just moving a number plate could actually make the car look so different, but it has. So that's one mod that we've already done, and that's also going to stay like that because it's very cool. Another thing that we're going to be changing is the headlights and the lights at the front and the lights on the side. The tail lights we're not too bothered about because we've already done them. We've already changed them. They need a good clean, but they're done. They look good, and they need a bit of tidying up and everything because they're not perfect, but we like them, we're happy with them, so they're staying. However, these headlights, as you can see, they're getting a bit old and a bit worn out. Same with these ones here. So they're getting changed, all the headlights are getting changed, tail lights are good, side lights, they're getting changed. The same with these little side indicator things, they're getting changed as well. Well, not side indicators, I think they're just reflective panels, but they're getting changed as well. So all of the lights are changing, and we're still undecided what to go for. However, we have decided we're not going to go for the halo ones. Everyone gets the halo ones, and to be honest, although I personally think they look good, they're just, we don't really want to go that route. So we've decided to go a different route. We know which ones we want to get, and you'll see those very, very soon. And another thing that will be changing very soon is these. Because these are terrible. They're also worn out. As you can see, this bit is moving about, and these just, well, they're worn, they're old, they don't look wonderful. So these are getting changed. However, we're still undecided on what ones to go for, so we'll let you know when we do that, probably in a couple of videos time. Moving on, this soft top, personally I hate soft tops. I really do not like soft tops. So we're changing that for a hard top because even my fiance doesn't like it. She likes it during the summer when she could put the roof down and have it, you know, fully convertible or whatever, but she prefers the look of a hard top, and so do I. So we're getting a hard top within the next couple of weeks, and that's going to be going on and looking fantastic. Again, more on the paintwork. This car is getting resprayed completely, and again, I'm not going to tell you the color. I'll let you guys guess in the comments what color you reckon this car is going to be. And no, we're not wrapping it. It will be painted, purely for the fact that we both love polishing up cars, and so we want to be able to polish it because you can't really do that with a wrap. So we're not wrapping it, it is getting painted. So guess in the comments what color you think this will be. Another thing that we are changing is going to be this bad boy down here. Now this is a big ass Marlian exhaust, and although I like loud cars, I like noisy cars, this is just a bit too loud maybe. So we're also considering changing that and not exactly making it quieter as such, but just putting a better one on it, because this one is just a bit too loud. Really a bit too loud. As you can tell. Now as well, we're also going to be seeing how cheap we can do this for, just to try and prove that you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of pounds to build a show car. Plan on building this car and maybe even putting it into a couple of shows next year. I just kind of want to show you guys that you can do this without even having to spend thousands of pounds. We're going to completely transform the look of this car and make it look like a show car for as cheap as humanly possible. Now, of course, I'm not going to cheap out and buy bad parts, but I want to show you how you can do it on the cheaper side of things rather than spending thousands of pounds to do it. Another thing that we need to sort out is this window, because this window doesn't currently go up and down properly. Now, I believe it's the window regulator, because the motor still works. It still tries to move the window, however, it just doesn't fully go down and fully work properly when you need it to when you press the buttons. So that is also something that needs addressing and needs sorting out, and we're going to get that sorted. Another thing as well is this wrap on here. You can see it's already starting to peel off, and it's leaving behind this sticky black material of some sort, and that really needs addressing and really needs sorting out, because I don't know who put this wrap on, but they did a terrible job of it. So that's something that we need to sort out as well. Whether we wrap it again with something different or maybe a lighter shade, we don't know, but that is something we need to sort out. As for the interior, the steering wheel definitely needs changing because we don't like it. It doesn't feel very good at all. We like how it is smaller than the OEM one, but we don't like that steering wheel, so we're going to change that. And the rest of the interior just needs a good clean up, perhaps new seats, because these don't look great. They're comfortable, but they don't look great. So they're getting changed. And of course, some nice new floor mats, because these ones are old, possibly even the OEM ones, and they're looking a bit sorry for their age, so they need sorting out. I also want to take this off at some point and check underneath it, because as you can see along there, it's starting to show a couple of signs of rust. So I want to take this off, have a look what's underneath and see what it's like underneath there. And it's not only that, we're also doing a lot more to this car. There is going to be pretty much everything, the whole front subframe, the whole rear subframe, all of that is getting changed and replaced or powder coated or one or the other. However, we want to get it looking good first. I know that seems very backwards, but we're going to get it looking good, and then we're going to, because pretty much everything underneath it, other than the parts that I've already told you about which need doing, underneath is pretty good. You know, it's probably one of the cleanest ones that I've seen. Still got all the surface rust and things like that, like any normal car would have. However, I want to get it completely clean underneath, but that will come after I've made it look good. Now, again, I like how these cars look. However, it's missing something at the back. Whether that be a nice ducktail or a wing, I don't know. But there needs to be a spoiler on the back, and we have decided we're going to get one. As well as a roof spoiler for the hardtop when we get it. That will just be like a little ducktail type thing on the top of the roof where it goes onto the window. So that is 2 spoilers that it will have, which are completely pointless, but it will look cool. Now, to be completely honest with you, I don't really know where to start. There's so much that we need to buy and so much that we need to do that I don't really know where to start. I guess the only place we're really starting is getting the rust repaired first, because that is happening, or that's not happening, but the inspection is happening next weekend on the 16th of November. So that is happening next week, and I'm making a full video about that, and they have agreed to let me film the whole inspection process and even interview one of the guys that's there, and so that you can just get an idea of who they are, what they do, and how they do things really. It's going to be a really interesting video, so stay tuned for that one. Now, I understand what you're thinking. I'm doing a lot of talking and not a lot of doing, but I can assure you all of these things that I have just spoken about are happening, and they are happening very, very soon. I'm incredibly excited to start this build and get on with it and show you guys everything that you can do to these cars, because it's not just obviously all the cosmetics that we're going to be doing. We're also going to be doing a lot of engine stuff and everything underneath the car, and all of that is going to be documented on this channel. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with this entire build. And once we've done this build, on to the next, and that's going to be even more exciting, because we're just going to keep elevating and elevating and elevating to the next level every build that we do. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more builds and more content based around cars, because that is all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else other than cars. So hit subscribe. Another thing that we're going to be doing is, you always see it with these cars, the wink module, where one stays down and one comes up, or vice versa, or whatever, of these headlights. That is a wink module that you can install. You can get many other different brands that do it, but the main one that we're going for is from JAS Performance. So that's another cool feature that we're going to be adding in. And I'm very excited about that one because it's funny as hell. And in case you're wondering why this arch looks like this, well, that's a very big mistake on my part. I'm the only one to blame for that. So originally when we first got this car, the paint was very faded. Now all of this cracking that you can see wasn't that bad when we first got it. However, I had at home some paint restorer type stuff. It's like a polish which you can apply to paint, and it's basically supposed to bring the life back into it and make it nice and glossy, kind of like some other parts of the car. And I put that on it, and yeah, this is the result. Now, I'm not a detailer or a valeter by any means of the word, so that is an entire mistake on my part. I didn't really understand the product, and I didn't really understand how bad the paint was before I put it on there. So that is entirely a mistake on my part, and I take full responsibility for that, and it's not going to happen again. So that's getting resprayed. Well, the whole car is getting resprayed purely just because, well, the paintwork is dead. It's absolutely dead. So like I said earlier, put in the comments, guess what color you think we're going to build this, paint this car in, because I guarantee you, you won't guess it. So these are all the things that are happening to this car. This MX-5 is going to have a complete transformation. It's going to look like a completely different car. And like I say, we're going to build it into a stancy type show car. The wheels are going to be cambered a bit, not too much, not too aggressively, but enough to notice. It's going to be lowered, body kit, spoilers, painted, rust free, the whole works. And the entire build is going to be documented on this YouTube channel. When we get around to doing all the subframes and all the suspension parts, that's going to be a whole nother level of stuff. It's going to be something that I've personally never done before in my life. So it's going to be a learning curve for me, and I think it'll be very interesting for you guys to watch as well. So stay tuned for that. And now you're probably wondering as well, we're doing all these modifications to the cosmetics of the car and how the car looks, but are we doing any performance modifications? Maybe. Now, I personally want to turbo this car. It's a 1.6 NA, or naturally aspirated, and although it feels like a go-kart, I think it needs that little bit more. I think it needs a turbo. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think we should turbo this car or not? So if this build is something that you are interested in watching, I'd highly recommend hitting that subscribe button, because this is going to be a very interesting build, and the whole process of it is going to be mega. So hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next week in the next video. Also, you'll have to let me know what these mics are like. Personally, I think this was a great purchase, and hopefully it should elevate the videos a bit more, but you need to let me know what they're like, especially because of these little fuzzy things on top, which looks like a dead mouse. But these are supposed to break the wind, so that's cool. But now I've got to try and get up with a broken back, which is not going to be fun at all. Oh. Oh. Okay, we're up. Okay, let's go home. Back in the warm, so I can have some more pills, have some more painkillers. Oh.